And oh, there comes AXL. Oh my word, that is a massive tarantula. Hello there all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and well, today we are taking on AXL, which, yeah, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. But let's get ready for that first of all. So what we're going to do is we're going to just quickly get some equipment here. I've decided to go for the Mantis Blade, so we may as well just make that. And then I've always been a big fan of the Ladybug Armour. So let's actually craft that as well. Faceplate, chestplate, and shin guards. And then we're just going to upgrade everything. I also have two smoothies ready, the Chunky Liquid Rage, and I also have Chunky Hedgelord. So those are the two potions I'll be using, and I also of course need a nice meal, and I have prepared some Larvania right over here. Because Larvania will give you extra weak point damage, which will be useful against AXL. Right, now it is morning, so I think what I am going to do is to just grab the poached roach roast. I've got 3 of them. I don't think I'll be doing 3 fights today, but you never know. If I feel up to it, maybe I will. And then I think we are just going to head on out to where AXL is, which will be by the pine trees. So the whole idea with AXL is, AXL was someone's pet. And of course you can see the terrarium right over here. And then after the explosion and during the ensuing chaos, AXL's terrarium got dropped, and in the process AXL escaped. And of course AXL looked for a nice environment to actually build her nest, and I'll explain why I think it is a her when we actually see her. And the best spot I think AXL could find was here by the big pine tree. It is a relatively dense area, and I think that is a suitable spot for a tarantula like AXL. As far as I recall, AXL is actually a reference to Home Alone, where the tarantula also was called AXL. We're just making our way up the roots of the pine tree, and then just moving along here. Nick and I and a friend of ours, we've got a base right over here. We call it AXL Lodge. It was in preparation for AXL's arrival. We weren't sure where AXL would be, but we figured we may as well have it in this general area because we knew AXL would be somewhere around here. Alright, we just had a run-in with some bees over here, unfortunately, but there should be a mantis nymph somewhere on these echinacea-like flowers. So we're just going to give it a wide berth. And then we're just going to head into the gloomy hedge here and make our way across the sticky threads. Now these threads here will most likely laid down by AXL. And tarantulas, especially the females that have more permanent nests and aren't wandering around looking for mates like the males would do, they tend to lay down quite a lot of silk, especially around their burrows. So I'm pretty sure this is in fact a female's lair. But there are some other indications when we're looking at AXL herself that tells me that, yeah, I'm pretty sure she is in fact a female. But we'll get to that in a moment. For now, I'm actually going to just tell Antilda here to go back to the nest. We don't want her around for the fight. The reason being, I'm pretty sure that if she is around here for the fight, AXL actually has more health. Oh, I've heard rumors of that. So yeah, let's just, not have her around. And I mean, she's not going to be very useful in the fight either. And then let's just check. I've got my two-handed Mantis Blade here. This will be quite good. I do love the Mantis Blade design. I mean, this blade here is made out of the raptorial claws of a mantis. So technically, I think 2 claws put together, because, I mean, if they don't have the serrations on both sides of the raptorial limb. So yeah, really cool design. It is a two-hander, of course. So we've got some extra swing there. And it has quite good stun, which is, yeah, really, really important for this fight, I think. I do also have my spider stringer bow over here, just, for range capabilities. Of course, my wolfsbane fangs, the daggers here. And then, if need be, my mosquito needle, just to, poke to get some health again as well. But as you can see there at the bottom, I also do have 32 smoothies, just to try and help me through this fight. And then, very, very importantly, let's just, drink some water to be nice and hydrated. And I forgot my Larvania. Well, I'll be back. It is currently 4 in the morning, so I am not surprised that I forgot it. And here we go, let's grab 2 of those. And now we're off again. So we're just going to send Antilda back to the nest again. And then we're going to get ready for the fight. I've got my Ladybird Beetle armor on, I've got my Mantis Blade ready, I've got my mosquito needle ready. Yeah. I think I think we are as ready as we can be for this fight. So let's see what happens. Let's chat about AXL and her ecology. And of course, it's sealed. And oh, there comes AXL. Oh my word, that is a massive tarantula. Alright, so before anything else, let's actually chat about AXL, shall we? So, there we go. Massive, massive, massive compared to the player there. And I know this is a typical tarantula because, well, the fangs over there are actually pointing downwards rather than to the side, kind of in an inward motion. And when they use their fangs, they would move their fangs in parallel with one another rather than in a scissor motion. And actually, like, they kind of move them more in parallel with one another, bringing them forward and back. Really an awesome creature. You can see, of course, very, very hairy. And that's, the typical characteristic of tarantulas. While a lot of people also call any hairy spider, like AXL over here, they call them tarantulas, even if they aren't actually in the tarantula family, or even in the Mygalomorphae, the infraorder to which tarantulas belong. The difference between the Mygalomorphae and the Araneomorphae, or the typical spiders, the Mygalomorphae have got these parallel moving fangs rather than the scissor motion fangs. And then also generally very hairy, although there are quite a few Araneomorphae that are also quite hairy. The number of spinnerets at the back that they use to actually spin their webs, that's also different. I'm not sure whether we actually can see spinnerets on AXL here. I almost don't think they've got spinnerets on AXL's body here. Let's have a look. Oh, never mind, they are there. There we go. There are the spinnerets there. In Araneomorphae, in the typical spiders, there are 6 there. In the case of the Mygalomorphae, there are 2 to 4. So that is quite cool. Also, the number of book lungs are different. Not sure whether we can see that. No, they haven't included that. But on the underside of the abdomen, the opistosoma over here, you would see little holes there. In typical spiders, in the Araneomorpha, there'll be 2 entrances there, 2 spiracles, 2 openings there to the book lungs, which basically, not lungs, but they're lung-like in function. They are part of the respiratory system. But in the Mygalomorpha, you'll actually have 2 sets, so 4 openings there, so 4 book lungs. Having a good look at the fangs here and the pedipalps over there as well. Can't say I'm a big fan of the pedipalps. Look, I understand why they have them as having these hard keratinized little appendages at the tip there, but tarantulas and spiders overall don't have these hardened tips to their pedipalps. The pedipalps basically being like little extensions here in front, very often used to manipulate their food closer to their mouth, which is over there. But also in males, they use this for mating, and they use it to tap on the ground, they use it to sense. And if you are using something as a sense organ, you don't have a hard nail at the tip there. Instead, they've got little sensitive little soles, and S-O-L-E-S, not S-O-U-L-S, not that type of soles, that they will use to sense the environment with. So the pedipalps here, not used in attack, rather used perhaps in threat displays, yes, but not in actually attacking. But with AXL here, I believe AXL will use those pedipalps as part of their attacks, so it makes sense that they would actually give them a harder structure. Alright, so why do I say AXL is a female? Well, first of all, she's sedentary. She is settled here. She's not going anywhere. Males during the breeding season actually go looking for females. They're much more active outside of the nest area. So if AXL were a male, he would be wandering around the entire yard, which thankfully we do not see. With the females, on the other hand, they would make a nice little burrow area, line it with silk, ambush prey coming past here. Yeah, AXL is much more of an ambush hunter rather than a free wandering type spider. But more importantly, AXL is missing something. AXL is missing what we call tibial hooks, which you would find right over there, I believe, not up here. They'll be right up here, just past the second segment of the feet. You'll find little hooks there. The function of those tibial hooks being that when the male finds a female, he has to immobilize her fangs, otherwise she may bite him and kill him and eat him. And obviously he doesn't want that. So he has tibial hooks right over there that actually hook into the fangs of the female, and he can pull her head up and position her fangs away from his body when he is mating with her, so that she doesn't bite down on him. And that's part of the whole courtship of the tarantulas. Alright, so just as an aside, why do we call them tarantulas? Because tarantula basically refers to any hairy type of spider, very often in the Mygalomorphae, but the original tarantula is actually a species with the scientific name Lycosa tarantula, and that is actually a species of wolf spider that is found in the Mediterranean region, so around the Mediterranean Sea, particular Italy, and then also extending to France and the northeastern parts of Spain. And that wolf spider was named after Toronto, and then, it just became, that was the original tarantula. It was that hairy spider. And then eventually, English-speaking people just kind of called any hairy spider a tarantula, especially species in the Mygalomorphae infraorder. And so you've got the New World tarantulas, which are these ones over here, and then you've got the Old World tarantulas, very often also called baboon spiders in South Africa, and you'll find them in Australia, Africa, Asia, Europe. They're all over the show. But yeah, this is one of the New World tarantulas, and they have something that we will see in a moment that the Old World tarantulas do not have and cannot do. But we'll talk about that in a moment. I just realized I forgot to eat my my meal, so we're going to immediately be poisoned. Hello there. That's a slam. Okay, so that's a great move there by AXL. Oh, that's another jump. Okay, we're just getting used to the movements here. So the slamming of the front there. Okay, so I think AXL is going to bite down on me in a moment, but that slamming of the front foot is actually part of the threat display of a tarantula, where they don't immediately want to bite. Like, yeah, AXL over here is quite aggressive, but I think it has to do with the fact that she's got a scar over there. She's already in bad shape. I think that scar most likely is the point where the tarantula tuft that we got earlier in the terrarium was torn off during the terrarium falling, and that's actually potentially a death sentence for her, because, well, spiders don't have a closed circulatory system, so a wound that actually opens up, yeah, it can result in death. So that's not great for her. But I mean, she's very aggressive, most likely due to the fact that she is injured. She's not feeling too well. She's not doing too great. She is in fight or flight mode. But normally, they would rather intimidate you. Some baboon spiders, some tarantulas will make a stridulation. So they will rub certain body parts, and particularly the pedipalps over here, rub that against other parts and create a type sound, a stridulation. A stridulation being when animals rub certain parts against other parts and it creates a sound. So not made with your vocal cords, but rather by rubbing certain body parts against other body parts. Alright, but the first defense would be stridulation, and then rearing up aggressively and then slamming down the front limbs there, the first set of legs, as an intimidation strategy. Now, AXL here is going full on for the bites. There we go, try to block that. Great stuff. Oh, absolutely magnificent. I did not block there. There we go, rearing up. And there we go. Okay, we should probably try to attack her a bit. Aha, that was a nice attack there by her, slamming down her front legs. And there we go, another bite. And we're just going to... Oh, okay, didn't dodge that one. Okay. Now, she hasn't given a full-on venom bite yet. They do very often give dry bites, rather than wasting their venom immediately on you. And of course, we're going to be under attack by the stranger as well. Okay, she did get me there, one bite. Miss. Okay, this is going alright so far. I mean, I'm not making a lot of progress. But there we go. Miss. Okay, just kind of have to dodge the other way to which leg she is moving. And there goes another bite. I'm really hoping we can stun her soon. There we go. And that means we can quickly consume that and jump on her back and then very quickly do a bit of damage to her weak spot here. And then just get off her a bit. There we go, okay. And she roars, okay. And I guess now she's going to burrow. Now, baboon spiders or tarantulas don't burrow this quickly. Okay, it takes a long time to create a burrow. Hello there. Oh yes, there we go. Okay, so the urticating hairs, and in this case also venomous. That is a very, very interesting one. We'll talk about the urticating hairs in a moment. Okay, so I did... Ooh, that was a nice one. Okay. We'll talk about the urticating hairs in a moment. That third one always gets me. Oh, and a big slam from her. Okay. And we're just going to keep on doing damage to her as much as we can. And I think, there we go, that one we can dodge. Great stuff. Oh, okay, we really need to dodge a bit. Hello there, AXL. Miss, you can't get to me under you, eh? And she's stunned again. Which means we can get on and do a bit of damage here. Going to wake up in a moment. Let's just not get extra damage done to us, eh? Miss. I'm loving the dodging mechanic in Grounded 2, I must say. Miss. Kind of backed myself into a corner here. Let's just get... Ooh, okay, and she's probably going to do the urticating hairs now. Yeah, there we go. Okay, okay, so we're just going to have to get ready to actually get out of the way here. But look at that. Okay, so what New World tarantulas, like AXL here, actually have, which Old World tarantulas do not have, are what we call urticating hairs. Now, the Mygalomorpha actually have 7 different types of urticating hairs. Each species doesn't have all of them. Some species have got more of certain types as well. And they are designed in different shapes and thicknesses and sizes to target specific predators. So some urticating hairs work better against invertebrates, some work better against mammals, some work better against vertebrates other than mammals. Alright, now I had to take a quick break because our one cat demanded food, so I have got no idea what I was going to say. But anyway, the urticating hairs, the name urticating, that word, urticating hairs, comes from Urtica, which is the genus of the stinging nettles. And that's because, well, they also have urticating hairs. Urticating hairs just being hairs that are very often like hypodermic needles, and they will burrow into your skin, causing a lot of pain and discomfort. In some species, especially of some species of caterpillars, they actually can inject venom into you. There's a caterpillar in South America, for example, that have caused quite a few fatalities, actually. And that's due to the venom that they inject if you actually go and try and pick them up or brush up against them or anything along those lines, with the urticating hairs then injecting venom into you. Now, in tarantulas, they don't have venom, but these urticating hairs, if they come into contact with your mucous membranes in, for example, your nose or your throat, well, that is not going to be a fun experience. And even if they don't come into contact with your mucous membranes and you just touch them or they burrow into your skin, that also will not be a lot of fun. So the whole idea here with the urticating hairs giving us venom or injecting venom into us if we actually get caught by them, well, that is, because some urticating hairs will inject venom into you. But this is one of the big defenses of tarantulas, the New World tarantulas. Old World tarantulas, the baboon spiders and so in Africa and Asia and Australia, they don't do this. Incidentally, of course, one of the most famous baboon spiders or Mygalomorphae from Australia being the Sydney funnel web spider. You often hear that, oh, they're so deadly and they have killed so many people. Yeah, in the past. But since there have been anti-venom available, I don't believe they have actually killed anyone. I think since the 1980s, I think that was the last recorded death by the Sydney funnel web spider. It is apparently very painful if you get bitten by them, but they've got a bad rap for nothing. Well, not really for nothing, but unnecessarily bad rap. Alright, but let's actually get ready here. So AXL here, raising the abdomen in this case and flicking the hairs in our general direction. They do this, maybe not quite to the extent that AXL here is raising her opistosoma. Opistosoma basically being the abdomen of spiders, but not true abdomens like you have in insects. Rather, the opistosoma here, unlike true abdomens in insects, actually contains the heart as well as the respiratory system. So the book lungs also contained in the opistosoma here. Alright, we've got to get ready to dodge the incoming urticating hairs. Incidentally, if they do this, they do end up with a bald spot on the backside here. Not AXL, but real world tarantulas will end up with a bald spot here as they rub out the urticating hairs. That will regrow, but it will regrow after the next molt, after they next shed their exoskeleton. Then they will regrow those urticating hairs. But until then, she should actually be vulnerable to attacks. Alright, but we're just going to dodge that. There we go. And now we are kind of ready. Hello, AXL. Let's just not be slammed onto. And again, dodge. And start swinging. We are making progress. Not as quick, but you know, we are making some progress. More urticating hairs. There we go. We just dodged that. Love the fact that she rubs the urticating hairs off her body there. That's a really good inclusion. Now, Axel here isn't actually a real tarantula species. She's kind of just a hypothetical one, based on a whole bunch of real-life ones. Like the Mexican red-knee tarantula. But she isn't a real tarantula species, at least. And we're just going to, again, do some damage to her weak spot. And now we are stunned, and I think this means that she's possibly going to burrow again. Yeah, there we go. She's going to burrow, and this is going to now cause a whole bunch of things to fall from the top. There we go. Okay, so caterpillars coming. She's going to heal a bit from them. We're not going to target them, but we are going to have to try and survive the onslaught that is to come in a moment. So there's Axel eating that caterpillar there. You know what? We're actually going to take out this one here because we can. But there we go, I think. There we go, there's Axel. And with it, he's taking out the big scorpion. That is great stuff. We're just going to, you know, do this and use our mosquito needle to try and survive the attacks. Oof. We really in danger there. Axel took out a whole bunch of those things and almost took out our health. Although, as far as I recall, Axel only brings your health down to 1 HP. Will never kill you in that big attack there. Oh, there's a little scorpion there. I was wondering, why can't I move? Okay, I suspect Axel is going to appear again soon. No, there's another little scorpion here. And then I think after that, I think we've cleared everything. Yeah, there we go. I think Axel is emerging once more. Alright, and going to do... Oh, bulldoze! Okay, yeah. So, tarantulas can't really do this. This is not a real move they can do. Oh, that does venom. Okay. Much faster attacks, similar to the infected broodmother we had in Grounded 1. Faster attacks as it goes on. Okay, and another roar. Alright, thank you, Axel. Are you going to bulldoze again? No, you're not. You're going to slam down. Oh, man, okay, got us there. And we're just going to keep on swinging. Okay, I think we need, perhaps, a bit more potions if we try this again next time. Okay, but I think, yes, indeed, that is it. Oh, okay, now I never did peeper, so let's just peeper, you know. Well, okay, so that worked. Oh, and let's just get the fangs there, and the chunk. Yes. And the venom, the talons, everything. Alright, yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, I must say. Okay, so used quite a lot of smoothies there. I think I started with 22 and I've got 11 left. Okay, so 11 smoothies I drank. I forgot to eat the Larvania again, although, no, I'm still doing weak point damage, so it's fine. Actually, the meal hasn't stopped working. So yeah, that is Axel. Axel being a typical tarantula. Really awesome creatures. I love tarantulas. Haven't seen tarantulas or baboon spiders in ages, but occasionally we do see them here in Southern Africa as well. Alright, but that is it for today, everybody. So if you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, nice thumbs up. Also, please share it with your friends and family, and let's all chat about tarantulas together. Next time I'm going to be talking about mind control in insects and how they may be mind controlled. And then I suspect it will be time for a bit of a different game, because then we have done most of the things we can do in Grounded 2. Of course, if you've got any questions, please pop them down in the comments below. There's also a link to my Discord channel in the description below. And until next time, everybody, stay safe. I'll see you all soon. Cheers!